So every year, my local drive-in hosts this special event toward the end of the season called the Spookeroo, which has like old classic horror films. And previously, they've done like things like The Exorcist or the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or more established classics and more popular classics. And this year, they decided to go a lot more culty, and and they also did 3 films instead of 2, and that's the Mark of the Devil, Zombie, and the Flesh and Blood Show. And I went to this with my brother, and it was a really fun night to have. Watch a bunch of cult films in a row, have a little marathon, and even though the first showing was a little rainy, like it was a really cool night. And I love supporting the local drive-in theaters. I don't know if like this other drive-in theaters have Halloween events like this or not, but I thought I'd do a little review of the 3 films that it had. The first of which is Mark of the Devil.
I am the witchfinder in this town. Is that clear? Tear out my tongue, but before you do, I'll make them laugh. I'll tell them you rape women, you burn innocent people, that you kill for money, that you're impotent.
Be happy.
So this is probably not a good film to start with, because it's definitely the worst of the 3, and it is incredibly kind of boring, and it almost seems like it's like a melodrama, like it's a historical melodrama, and then at a certain point, like a bunch of people are getting tortured, and like this is like a torture porn film before the torture porn genre was created by Saw. And it's also too, it's a German film, and the English dub for it goes from bad to horrible, depending on the characters. And it's funny that they are driving and they print off these things that the original one, it was like rated V for violence, and they gave everyone like barf bags. And they actually printed them off and gave everyone in it barf bags, and it's kind of funny, but I didn't, maybe because I'm desensitized, but I didn't find any of it that extreme. Like, I mean, the most extreme stuff was like when they would poke them with like a needle, and when they poked them with a needle to try to create the Mark of the Devil, to say that they are a witch so that they can burn them alive. Like, they like poke them with this needle, this long needle. And that almost looked kind of real. Like, it looked like the skin kind of would pull, and and that was the creepiest part, like, creepier than all the other torture scenes. And I think the worst part of the film is that it's, you don't care about any of the characters. You have, the main woman and the one main guy, and they have like a romance thing going on. Then you have like the witch hunters coming in, and like the original witch hunter, like he wants to rape the girl, and then she gets away, and she tries to say that she's a witch, and then the new witch hunter, like the kind of like the bishop comes, and he's supposed to be in charge of all the witch hunting now, and he brings him to her and is like, he caused impotence to all the men, and he's like, they pour in tea, and like the tea comes all over, like, that's me, I'm impotent. Oh, that witch, I better take care of her. And it's like, it's kind of funny, like, it plays like, da-da-da, like, impotency. Oh, no. It's like, it's so weird. And I do find it's odd, too, that when they start torturing people, for most of the people, you really don't have any reason to care about them. And I mean, they try to do a little bit, like this one guy is like a noble, and the church is trying to steal his money. But they don't really have any characterization of him. Like, the only characters that you actually get to know a little bit, they never get tortured. Like, the main girl, like, she is beat with like a whip a couple times, but she's never tortured. And you also, like, even all the other girls, you see their boobs, you never see her boobs. And it's like she's never tortured. She's always just kind of like in jail instead. And then they torture these other people, which you don't care about. And it's like, I don't know why they chose to do it like that. I also found it funny that The fight, some scenes can be a little funny, but like I'm not sure if they're trying to be funny or not. But at a certain point, like some of the witch hunters go out and they see these kids playing, and one they're playing make pretend, and they have like magic, and they go, magic, that's the devil's work. Go after him. They chase these kids, and the kid goes back to his house, and his parents are putting on a puppet show for all the different kids, and it's like, those puppets speak with human voices and faces. It's the work of the devil. And they take him to the bishop, the head witch hunter, and they explain that. And the witch hunter's like, God damn it, they're talking about puppets. They're probably this for puppets. But then you see they see the puppeteer is this hot blonde, and it's like, interesting. Yes, I think you are a witch. Oh. And it's funny because one car left. Like when this movie started, like 10 minutes after the movie started, one car that was in the drive-in left, and that's how bad the movie was. And honestly, I give it like a 2 out of 10, maybe like a 3 out of 10. It is not a good film. It does not hold its age well, and I don't know if it's ever considered a good film. It feels like kind of like the worst of the Grindhouse films. Like they tried to be grindhousey, like they tried to be crazy, and it's just stupid. Like, it was not a great movie to start with. The second movie, however, was a lot better, and that was Zombie. So in other countries, this is also known as Zombie 2, and that's because the director, Lucio Fulci, he actually bought the foreign rights to like the initial zombie film, Day of the Dead, I think. He had the rights for the film in other countries, especially his Italy, and he made the film like a lot different cut of what we saw here in America, and when he did a sequel to a film that wasn't even his, and he called that original film Zombie, and he called this film Zombie 2, even though they're not connected at all, but except that they're zombies, and it's just kind of goofy. But when the actual film is excellent. Like it has all like the genre tropes of zombie films. How they if they're bitten, they become a zombie and they want brains, they want to eat people. But this has a little bit too of the original source of the zombie idea, and that's with like the voodoo. And it does a lot of interesting things. I mean, it has some of the best death scenes maybe ever in a horror film. Like, and it has honestly maybe one of the greatest shark scenes ever in a movie. Because, I mean, at a certain point you have there's this woman this boat shows up, and it's her father's boat, and on it is the zombie, and it, like, bites a cop, and like they kill it, but like everything kind of goes crazy, and she's trying to find out what happened to her dad, and this reporter kind of goes with her to where the boat came from to try to find her dad. And on the way, they meet up with this couple that is going to take them to this island that like the locals say to stay away from. And like when they go there, they're to kind of stop her to shoot. Like the woman wants to take pictures in the water, and they go down there, and there's a shark. And the stuff with the shark, I mean, it's like a real shark. And at a certain point, like a zombie comes out and tries to bite the woman, and she fends it off, and then you have zombie versus shark. And I don't know how they filmed it. Like, I looked it up, and I found some stuff that, that this was like a shark wrangler that was in the zombie costume. And you see, like, he must be able to hold his breath for minutes, because he's, like, fighting with a shark, and they also must have multiple different cuts. But, like, you see him, like, take a bite out of the shark, and you see the shark take a bite out of him, and you see him wrestling with the sharks, and it's just incredibly well filmed. I don't know how I can guess at how some of it was done, but still, I've never seen anything quite like it. But then when they get to the island, there's this doctor there that is trying to cure the zombieism, and they're trying to find some scientific reason for what's happening. And like while they're there, shit hits the fan pretty quick. and there's like more of an outbreak, as I guess, you know, the voodoo priest, the voodoo people aren't happy about what's going on the island, and they're turning all the dead into zombies, and all the zombies are turning more people into zombies, and like it does a lot of really great things with it. I mean, there are some death scenes like with a woman that has like a splinter going into her eye that a zombie's pulling her onto, and they got some other death scenes that are really good, and you know the effects are, you know, you can tell, you know, they're real, they're realistic, even though that, I mean, they're older, but they're all practical and they're all pretty good, and this I really enjoyed it. If I give this one like an 8.75 out of 10. And this one was kind of just was worth going to see the Spookeroo and see on like a big screen like that. Like it was worth even if the other movies aren't that great. And the third and final movie was a Flesh and Blood show.
Did you see that?
So this was a very British slasher film, and it's just really that all these actors go and they go to this theater and they're like rehearsing for some weird show they're gonna put on, and everyone starts dying, and there's a lot of nudity and there's a lot of blood and carnage, and it's not really, for me, it's not that gory. But I think, you know, that's how they sell it. Like, there's a lot of blood and a lot of flesh. And, like, it has some moments that are kind of interesting. It's not horrible, but at a certain point, like, it becomes, like, Shakespearean with stuff, and they try to do things with, like, the main slasher and all the other actors. And they have, like, this big flashback for what's happening. And it's like fine. I would have rather had it continue though and have everyone be killed. Like it's okay, but it's just, I understand why it's lost in time. There's not that much here to it, but still a kind of fun, like culty horror film, like an old horror film I never heard of, and it has some fun moments, and it has a lot of nudity, but I wouldn't highly recommend it. Like if you're just gonna watch it randomly. Like, I give it like a 6.5 out of 10. But as a whole, even though the two movies that bookended the Spookeroo, I really like doing this. It was a lot of fun. I think especially too, I mean, if you watch newer movies at a drive-in, like the sound can be not as good if you're in the theater. But since the movies were older, and like that, it didn't really bother me that much. So it was great to see like older horror films on the big screen and the drive-in, and it was just a lot of fun experience. I don't know if any other drive-ins are doing some sort of events like this, but if they are, like, it'd be cool to check them out. And thanks for watching. Check out the replay that's on my head and subscribe to me on that Z over there. Thanks.